But I've lived in all these places, 5 countries, 6 cities. But Portugal, the more I traveled, the more I lived in other countries, the more I loved Portugal. And the more I felt like this is a little heaven, sitting down by the ocean on a little corner of Europe. The food is amazing, people are friendly, the weather is, I don't know how many, 300 something sunshine days a year. It's very easy to adapt in Portugal. Everyone speaks English, or if they don't, they will do your best to make you feel welcome in whatever language it is. We'll
Mm.
find a way to communicate. My name is Rita Pissarra, and I'm your latest guest at Portugal The Simple Life podcast. I am known for retiring at the age of 44 after leaving my dream role, the CFO of Microsoft Portugal. I am now a book author, and I enjoy my life here in sunny Portugal doing some conferences, meetings, podcasts like this one, and just having fun with my friends and family, and will probably include some surfing. So tune in.
Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of Portugal the Simple Life. And I'm delighted to be joined here by Rita Pissarra. Rita, good afternoon. How are you? Boa
Good
tarde.
afternoon. Boa tarde. I just loved how you said so well my last name. That's like unheard of. So congratulations and thank you so much for
I
having
was
me.
going to ask you if I got it right, because I know the double R, it has to be a ch, like, the ch, like you're clearing your throat sound. But
Yep.
yeah, 15 years, at least I've learned something.
You've mastered that one.
Rita, why don't you start off telling us a little bit about you?
I'm 45 currently, but last year during summer, I decided to retire. Well, it wasn't decided. I actually spoke up to the world saying that I was retiring from my corporate life and I left the role of CFO of Microsoft Portugal. And it took a lot of people by surprise. It went viral across the
It
country
did.
because
That's how I heard about you.
it was unheard of. Someone who apparently had, everything. You were on the top of your career, earning the bucks or the euros, and suddenly you decide to leave. So how come? And to be honest, the reality is that it had been my plan since 2006 to retire at the age of 50. My parents had both two jobs each to give us a little bit more of support, a little bit of more comfort. I went all my life to public schools. And so things didn't come easy. I started my career as I was the first person in my family to go to college, joined Microsoft. And within Microsoft, I made a very tight career plan to reach my dream job, which was to be the CFO of Portugal. And it all seemed great. But in 2006, 1 year later, 1 year after I joined Microsoft, my father passed away at the age of 54. And that for me was a very dark moment. Of course, there's 3 days of my life that I don't remember. My father passed away on a Friday 13. I'm not superstitious, but I do not like Friday 13s, as you can imagine.
Can you
But
imagine?
getting something like that to happen to you on your life, it made me change my plans. I was very ambitious. I wanted my dream job. I wanted to become the CFO of Portugal. But at the same time, I understood that the most important thing, the most luxurious item that we have in our lives is time. And I wanted time to spend it with my family, to do my hobbies, to surfing, to skating, to traveling. And so I decided that I wanted to retire by the age of 50. Of course, one thing is to have the plan, the other one is to have the money to do it. So I had to understand that I needed to save a lot of money, which I did, but saving was also not enough. I needed to understand how investments went by. Why is 40% of the North American population investing in the stock market and we don't do it in Portugal? So how can I make the money work for me? And after learning a lot about how the stock market works and how to invest in housing in Portugal and making, buying houses to rent, I actually came to a moment where the income that I was getting from these assets that I was buying was enough not to depend on Microsoft salary to live. And at moment I said, okay, I actually don't need,
I can do this.
I can do this. And so I know we say that you can't buy time, but that's exactly what I did. When we leave college, we sell our time to a company in exchange of a salary. We sell our freedom in exchange of money at the end of the month. And what I did was exactly the reverse. I said, I don't want the salary anymore. I want my freedom. I want my time. I want to do whatever I feel like it. And that's how I got known to the Portuguese community, because I guess I was brave enough to have this plan and then to announce it to the world. I just didn't had any idea how many people would like to hear this.
Tell us about did you say going on to fourth edition? So it's four books now?
Yeah, no, it's the fourth
Uh,
edition of the same
of the
book.
same.
So
Yeah, okay.
they
So
just
tell us about your book.
reprinted. And so when this fourth edition comes out, I'll be a bestseller, which is amazing.
Wow.
You
Congratulations.
the book is called A Vida Não Pode Esperar, which is translated Life Cannot Wait
Life can't wait. Yeah.
or Can't Wait. And then it's the strategy that I used to reach my early retirement. And it's divided in four chapters. It's written in Portuguese, though, and I'm sorry for that. It's divided in four chapters. The first chapter is ambition. It's all taboos, right? All the four chapters that I have in my book, they're all taboos in Portugal. People don't talk about these things. So the
Okay.
first one is ambition. Whenever you say you're ambitious in Portugal or that you have a lot of ambition, people automatically associated it with greed, which is
Or
completely two different.
selfishness.
Exactly. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
completely two different realities, not the same thing. I'm not an expert in Portugal. I lived 12 years abroad. First chapter is about that. It's about finding your objectives, fighting for your ambitions and getting there, and of course, earning a lot of money if possible. The second one is about work-life balance. My generation, I don't know if it's Beyonce or the other one or Rihanna, I never know. My generation is all about work, 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 work. Which one is it? I don't know.
I think it's Rihanna.
Rihanna?
I
I
think
never.
that was you're asking the wrong guy, but I
Oh,
think it's Rihanna.
well, one of the two, one of the two. And I think it's super important that we value the work-life balance. When we go on an airplane and the oxygen masks come down, who do we put the oxygen mask in first? To ourselves. And that's crucial, right? It's not just on airplanes, it's on our day-to-day lives. We need to put the oxygen mask in ourselves. We need to take care of us. We need to exercise. We need to eat healthy. We need to have time to be able to take care of our family, to be able to be the best employee, the best collaborator to our companies, and so forth. The third chapter is about financial planning. I know salaries in Portugal are small. I worked 12 years abroad with different salaries, with different tax regimes. But if I ask, and I've done this in all the conference where I go, I ask people to raise their hands if they know how much money they spent in food the last month. Only 10 to 15% raise their arm.
Looking for a home in Portugal? This break in Portugal, the Simple Life podcast, is brought to you by Dylan and his team of certified realtors at Portugal Realty. Portugal Realty offers the exclusive Simple Life home buyer program. Visit portugalrealty.com today and book your free call to find out more. Welcome to the Simple Life.
And I know the salaries are small, but if you work 40 plus hours a week to earn a salary, and then you don't spend 1 hour to understand where that money is going to, how can you save money?
Yeah.
Like you earn it and then it goes away. You need to understand where it's going so that it can save money and of course invest, because you've said Portugal has a lot of history on saving. It's true. I learned that from my parents also, the importance of saving. Nothing gets to waste. Everything is held for a rainy day, but it's just not enough. I talk about investments, I talk about savings, I talk about financial planning. And then the last chapter, I think it's the one that catches most people out of surprise, which I called it the mental hygiene. And so that chapter is about that, finding your new purpose in life so
Yeah.
that you still feel useful. And there's this saying in Portuguese that says, parar é morrer. To stop is to
To
die.
die. Yeah.
And it's about that, right? You stop working, eventually 2, 3 years, people usually die if they don't have another thing to occupy their minds and to feel relevant. So the last chapter it's about that.
What was it about this place and about the lifestyle here that you thought, I want to be able to enjoy more time?
Yeah, so I lived 12 years abroad, and my plan and my husband's plan was always to come back to Portugal. But I've lived in all these places, 5 countries, 6 cities. But Portugal, the more I traveled, the more I lived in other countries, the more I loved Portugal, and the more I felt like this is a little heaven, sitting down by the ocean on a little corner of Europe. The food is amazing. People are friendly. The weather is, I don't know how many, 300 something sunshine days a year. We have our problems, but security-wise, it's so good. And you have your friends, and it's easy living, right? There's no guns here, and you're not gonna get shot. Well, hopefully not. And it's very easy to adapt in Portugal. Everyone speaks English, or if they don't, they will do your best to make you feel welcome in whatever language it is. We'll find a way to communicate. The food is just, it's not processed, right? There's no GMOs, there's no thing. It's good food. Like you open a piece of bread and it's solid bread, but I don't know, it's really, really good. And the quality of life is just good. And
For your daughter, was that also a factor for you coming back here for quality of life for her?
look, we had an option. We can go back to the US. We could go live there. We are residents, so we could go back to the US and live there. But when you think about, everything that is happening in terms of security, it doesn't make sense. I can't take my daughter to school and be afraid that something may happen to her in school,
No.
right? I can't be afraid of, when we lived in Brazil, I can't be afraid of leaving my apartment and need to make sure that I'm on a, armed car so that if someone shoots at my car, nothing will happen to me, that sort of things you don't want to be worried about. You want to live in a secure place where, you can leave your stuff at the beach, go for a dive, come back, and everything is still there. It's good, and I really, really enjoy it. It's just easygoing and living by the ocean, right? Having the privilege of just, walking. I can go walking. I can see the ocean from my window, but having the privilege to walk down and put your feet in salty water, you can't beat that. I was so depressed when I lived in Madrid. There's no water. I need to be close to
Yeah.
water.
You've traveled a lot. What do you think it is that is attracting people here? What are those key things that you think people are drawn to in Portugal?
For sure, security. If you think about Brazil, security, the ability to, have your kids in the school and having them walk back home and to be able to attend a public school and it's still going to be really, really good. The education system is for free. And even if you go to college, when you think about the US, when you go to college, you pay, I don't know, 600 euros a year when you compare with prices in the US where you need to pay what, 30, 40K a year? It's
I think
crazy.
it would have taken you longer to retire early if you were
Oh,
in
for
the
sure.
US.
Exactly. I told my daughter, you're not doing US. You're not going to go to school in the US.
Talking about work-life balance, how do you think this place can help people with that part of their lives? Because a lot of people are coming for that reason as well.
Look, for me, work-life balance, in terms of work-life balance and working here, what other countries can you disconnect your computer at 5 and be at the beach in 10, 15 minutes and still enjoy the sun and still enjoy the water? Probably going to be cold, but still it's refreshing until 8, 9, and you can drink a sangria or you can drink whatever you feel like it and enjoy life until then. That's the beauty of Portugal. It's a different pace, it's a different quality of life. It's good, healthy food, friendly people, having time just to enjoy life. It's not all about work.
For somebody who doesn't know, how would you describe Portuguese people?
Portuguese people are friendly. We don't like a lot of stress, I think. We don't like a lot of, how do you say, fights and argues, and
Conflict. Yeah.
we don't like a lot of conflict. We'll probably just go like, can we solve this on an easier way and not get in a lot of stress? We probably will avoid confrontations. Oh, and we have this thing, which I don't know. I think it's Portuguese and Spanish probably. We're having lunch, okay? Sitting down at the table having lunch, and we're talking about the dinner that we're gonna eat, and probably about the lunch of the next day.
Rita,
So
when I first started dating my wife and when things started to get more serious and I was like, hold on, we're eating lunch here. Why are we talking about dinner? And it's like, but this is the thing that every Portuguese takes very seriously is
Yep.
food.
Food. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because food, eating, it's not just about the food itself. Because
Yeah.
when you're eating food, you're sitting down at a table, you're actually enjoying the moment with people that you like around you. So it's not just about eating. When I went to the US, most people ate lunch in front of their keyboards and they didn't even stop. For us to stop and to have lunch and to go out, it's
Yeah.
about mingling, it's about connecting, it's about creating a bond, it's about knowing the people who you're sharing a meal with.
Rita, what's one thing that you would like people to remember and take away from our conversation?
I would say maybe the title of my book, Life Cannot Wait. So remember to take control of your life, remember to take control of your career, take control of your destiny.
Yeah, I like that. A question that we ask all of our guests, Rita. Portugal, the simple life. Why?
Because we focus on what is important. We focus on the food. We focus on the basics. We focus on food. We focus on friends. We focus on family. We focus on strolls by the beach. We focus on having fun. Santos Populares, it's this week.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
I think that's the best description about Portugal. It's about being out on the street, dancing, laughing, eating good food, and having fun. I think that's the best summary of Portugal is Santos Populares, right? You go on the streets of Lisbon, everyone opens their front door and they sell or give away food or drinks, and there's music in the air, and you dance and you share and you laugh. I think that's the best definition of Portugal. That's as simple as it gets. There's
Yeah.
food, there's fun, there's laughs, there's friends. That's
Yeah.
it.
Rita, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This is wonderful.
No, thank you so much for having me. It was really a true pleasure to be here with you today.
And this is the part where you say that's a wrap. I'm going to let you call it.
And that's a wrap, folks.
So thank you once again to our guest, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We always love to hear from you. Don't forget, Portugal The Simple Life also has a magazine, so download it. It's for free. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode, and as we say in Portugal, sejas bem-vindo. Welcome to The Simple Life.